not here to talk for Millard Bennett. He can talk for himself as eloquently as any man I know. And that explains why I am saying these few words. The next voice you hear will be the voice of one of the most remarkable men I know. The voice of my friend Millard Bennett, author of The Power of Inspired Salesmanship. A book for you to buy and cherish all the rest of your life. I advise you to listen with both ears and all your heart to what Millard Bennett will say to you. His words may easily mark the turning point of your life to success, as they have marked those of other people. The big truth about these words of his is that they come out of his own life and experience. He is not talking about something that he has read in other people's books. He's talking about the principles by which he himself has molded his own life. Because he has proved these true and inspiring for himself, he is sharing them with you. He started out in life scrawny and weak physically. Yet in the First World War, he was awarded recognition as one of the finest physical specimens in the United States Army. And still today, he exercises regularly and is the finest physical specimen for his age that I know. Again, as a young man, he was denied many of the advantages of higher education, felt himself inferior to many of his contemporaries. Today, he is recognized as a master business mind, and audiences in every state of the Union and overseas eagerly seek to hear him. Both physically and intellectually, he has proved that weakness can be turned into strength. Here, he tells you how he has done it. He gives you a power-packed program by which you too can do it for yourself. Here now is Millard Bennett to tell you how to use the power of inspired salesmanship not only to sell more, but to enrich your whole life.
This is Millard Bennett on Band 2, bringing you a condensation of my book, The Power of Inspired Salesmanship. I want to set the stage for what I am going to say to you on these records by telling you a story about my friend, whom you just heard, Dr. Frank Kingdon, and a college chum of his named Bert. Once, when they were in college together, they went for a swim off the south shore of Boston Harbor. After their swim, they lay in the sand in the sun, thoroughly relaxed. Bert began to talk. He talked about the routine job at which he was working to put himself through college. He was an expert stenographer. Then he began to talk about what he would like to be. As young men sometimes do when they are with a friend, he opened his heart and told his dreams. Frank's memory often goes back to that conversation, though 40 years have passed, because Bert's dreams have come true. He is today a minister of high reputation upon whom his fellow ministers have bestowed many honors because he has proved himself a leader among them. Frank thinks a lot about this because he remembers that as they sat in the sun that other day, he was a bit sad. He was sad because it seemed to him that Bert was dreaming about the impossible and would someday be disappointed. Here was a young man doing what men in all ages have done. He was contrasting two pictures in his mind, the picture of the man he was and the picture of the man he would like to become. He might have been you. Whether you are 16 or 60, you too are a man with dreams. What I am going to tell you on these records is how you, like Bert, can without fail become tomorrow the man that today you dream of becoming. I shall show you the rules for making your dreams come true. Remembering the story of Bert, who made his dreams come true, now I want to talk to you about you. Let us begin by taking a look at you. I know something about you. You are listening to this record right now because you are not satisfied with yourself, with your job, with what you are now getting out of life. You have two pictures of yourself in your mind. You see yourself as you are. You have a dream of yourself as you would like to be. You are dissatisfied when you contrast that dream with a vision of what you would like to be. Now mark this. This inner dissatisfaction is the creative urge in you. It is the divine discontent which pushes men to achieve. Your inner dissatisfaction is something deep within yourself telling you that you can be bigger, better, and richer in achievement tomorrow than you are today. I put alongside this thought another one. You need not for a moment think that you cannot reach the ambition of which you dream. For here is a truth for you to grasp and believe. Nature has given you a built-in device to make you grow and to keep on growing, mentally and spiritually, as long as you live. There are natural laws for using this equipment. I have studied these laws just as I have studied the laws of physical development. What I am saying to you on these records consists of nothing more or less than scientific laws for personal achievement, which I have proved are as true for the mental and spiritual life as the laws of diet and exercise are for the body. These are nature's own laws. Follow them, and you cannot possibly fail to uncover and develop every talent and power you possess. Now let me add this. It is not enough just to know these laws. They will serve you only as you obey them. This means that you must practice them. You must practice them regularly. You will practice them regularly only when you have a plan for doing so. My first suggestion to you, therefore, is this. Decide now on a specific hour every day which you will devote to the study and practice of the laws for inspired living. Just as the athlete has his regular time for daily exercise, set up yours. It is the man who sets for himself a definite goal and makes regular progress toward it by planning his course and sticking to it day after day without fail, who finally gets where he wants to go. I call my first chapter on how to develop your personal powers by this title, What You Dare to Dream, Dare to Do. I put this first because, and mark this carefully, I have learned through contacts with literally thousands that most people stumble through life without making their dreams come true because they underestimate themselves. They start out by saying, I can't, and they stop right there. I tell you without any hesitation that by studying and practicing the laws I bring to you, you can become greater than you are, and what is more, greater than you now think you can ever be. This album will relate the stories of men like Churchill and Edison, who started out under the cloud of handicaps and even the reputation of being not quite bright, who are now universally acclaimed as geniuses. I am convinced that most people of above average intelligence, and this includes you would not be listening to this record if you were not in this category, can achieve power and accomplishment which will lift them to the rank of genius. There is a golden thread that runs through the life of every genius, every man of unusual accomplishment. It is the golden thread of persistence. This is the first law of personal development. One quality alone can take your natural powers, sharpen them to a fine point, and aim them straight at your target. And that quality is persistence. Not just persistence in general, but your persistence, your own dogged, day by day moving toward your goal under your own power and your own control. Through persistence, you will develop skill. Your skill is what you get paid for, whether you are a tailor or a corporation executive. And skill is something you can acquire for yourself. It is made up of 4 parts: knowledge, experience, initiative, and ingenuity. Your knowledge is the sum of the information you have gained. Your experience is the testing and clarifying of your knowledge by trial and practice. Your initiative is your self-reliance, energy, and daring in applying your knowledge and experience to new undertakings. Your ingenuity is your ability to apply your knowledge, experience, and initiative to new situations. Your skill is all four of these combined into practical methods of work. You can develop your own skill by improving yourself in each of the components of skill. First, I shall give you a simple, surefire, tested, and proved formula for increasing your knowledge, the initial stage in the development of skill. All things in nature change. Nothing is this minute exactly what it was a minute ago or what it will be a minute hence. As this law of nature functions ceaselessly on plant and flower, mountain and sea, so it works constantly on each one of us, including you. Within this law of change works the law of life and death. You and I and every other living person at this very moment are either growing into a fuller life or we are declining towards death. We are either going forward or backward. We never stand still. There is no such fact in experience as maintaining the status quo. The human mind, every mind, yours and mine, is constantly doing one of two things, learning or forgetting. If we neglect it, it forgets. Only when we stimulate it will it learn. This is a law of the human mind as inescapable as change itself. The capacity of the mind to forget is tremendous. Think of your own school years. During your school days, you are filling your mind with information all the time and in great quantities. When your school days ended, you stopped learning at the same fast rate, but your mind went right on forgetting. Think of all the things you once knew, which you have now forgotten. The mind is like a tank with a slow leak. Unless liquid is added to it as fast as it is leaking out, the tank will eventually be drained, empty. As surely as that, unless we add to our store of knowledge every day, we shall every day become more and more mentally ineffective. Or we might liken the mind to a fighter. Unless he keeps in regular training, he loses his edge. True, you may agree, but how is it possible for me with a full day's work to do to keep myself mentally alive and growing? On the next band, I'm going to tell you a story, a true story, that I told to a salesman one day. It changed his life, and if you believe it and put its recommendations into practice, it could turn out to be the greatest idea for improving your own life that you have ever encountered. I have proved it in scores of cases. You can prove it for yourself. If you adopt the simple formula I shall give you, I will introduce it on the next band with a true story of a salesman whose life changed.